Chad Smith, Bassmaster Opens Pro, and I'm going to give you my 3 must-have baits for fishing in Florida in the springtime. First and foremost, one of my favorite ways to cover water down here in Florida especially is going to be with a chatterbait or a bladed jig. It's going to be something I'm going to be fishing offshore mainly. It's going to cover a lot of water. It's super effective with that vibrating blade on the top. For a rod, I'm gonna throw it, I have a 7.4 medium heavy glass rod. I like that extra give in that rod that it's gonna bring just because I am casting and retrieving that bait, so it's not gonna rip it out of the fish's mouth too fast. Gear ratio wise, I like a 6:3 to 1. Gonna help me slow down and keep that grass contact and contact with that other vegetation when I am fishing that bait. That's the first one. I'm probably not gonna leave the boat ramp without a chatterbait on my deck. Bait number 2 that I'm gonna have on my front deck is gonna show me a lot of fish up shallow. Sometimes it's just a good way for me to locate bass, but also I'll catch a handful of them on it. Is gonna be like a boot tail swim bait of some sort, you know, like a Gambler, Big Easy, a Reaction Innovation skinny dip or any kind of thing like that. I'll Texas rig it, pegged with a light bullet weight. I got an 1/8 ounce on here with a big 5/0 wide gap hook, straight braid. I'll be reeling it on top of that emergent vegetation out there. It's gonna, you know, come over a lot of things, go through things smoothly. It's weedless, and you catch a ton of fish on it. It's a good way to cover water and at least show you where some fish are located up shallow. Straight braid, like I said, I've got it on a 7.6 heavy casting rod. You know, I'll be fishing around some heavy cover, and when you do get one on, you got to yank them out of some heavy stuff. But fast gear ratio reel, I like to pick up on the slack, get those fish out of there. It's going to help me pick up that slack in the line, get those fish, haul them out of that heavy cover quick. But this is definitely a go-to for me. It's a subtle presentation that shows me a lot where fish are, and also I catch a ton on it. Lastly, it's a Florida staple. Wouldn't be surprised if you've heard about a June bug speedworm fishing down in Florida. It's just a, you know, straight worm with that little vibrating tail there. You can do so many different things. This is going to be probably one of the most versatile baits out there that you can throw in Florida all year round, especially. And you know, you just have a worm hook on there, Texas rigged. You know, debating on how deep I'm fishing, I'll vary my weight sizes, but I got a 1/4 ounce on here pegged. I'll tie it to a fluorocarbon leader to straight braid. So down here in Florida, you know, that braided line is just so essential to get them out of some cover and also cut through some weeds and all that vegetation you're fishing around. But I mean, you can cast this out offshore in hydrilla, reel it slowly. You can flip it up around pads, buggy whips, any other kind of thing that you want to fish around, and drag it slow, flip it around. It's just a bait that's going to catch you some bass in Florida. I typically am going to throw it on a 7'3" medium heavy casting rod with a fast tip. You know, it's just overall a good worm rod, I think, out there. Can do a bunch of different things with it. And again, fast gear ratio reel. You're flipping it around, making a lot of casts with it, doing a whole bunch of different things. And I like that fast gear ratio, you know, to get that bait quick back to the boat, make another cast, and also just to get the fish out of any kind of cover you're around. If you're a snowbird like I am, trying to get away from that cold weather up north and get the chance to make a trip down to Florida or thinking about it, definitely keep these 3 baits in mind, because I think if you can get these mastered, you're going to be in really good shape.